All right, so we are starting algebra. This is quite a big topic, as you can tell by the size of the booklet, so please look after your booklet. This does have the theory and the exercises all in together. Okay, so we are starting with an introduction to algebra. So going over some of the basic words, the terms that we will be using, and then into some expressions. So first of all, we have some sentences to complete. The first one says, x plus y plus 3 is an example of and the missing words there are algebraic expression. Algebraic just means algebra, and the word expression is a name that we give to things in algebra that look like this, where they have a few things maybe added or subtracted together. Some are letters, some are numbers, could be a mixture of all sorts of things. The x and the y are pronumerals. Okay, that is a fancy word. Again, it's a mathematical word, but it just means the letters. Okay, it's just the letters that we use in algebra. We call them pronumerals. In the example, x plus y plus 3, the x and the y could represent any number. And a lot of the time we are doing questions where we do not know what those numbers are. There are some very specific times when I will tell you that maybe x is equal to 5, but a lot of the times we don't know. Okay, so they are called, if they can be any number, they are called variables because they can vary of what they're equal to. A times B can be written as AB. Okay, now in algebra, one of the things that we always like to do is to write things as simplified as possible, as neatly as possible. And multiplication is one symbol that we try not to use if we're trying to simplify things. So instead, we just put the two things next to each other that we're multiplying, and it means multiplication. So it's one of the little rules you need to tuck away in your memory. Also, divide. We prefer not to write a divide sign. So instead of A divided by B, we write it as a fraction with the A on the top and the B on the bottom. So A over B means A divided by B. A something consists of numbers and pronumerals combined with multiplication or division. The word we're looking for there is a term. A term consists of numbers and pronumerals that are combined with multiplication and division. So this one, for AB, that was a term. A over B, that is also a term. For example, there's a bunch of different terms that are listed there. A number. Max, a 5, a number all by itself can be a term. It could be a letter like X all by itself. That could be a term. It could be a letter and a number multiplied together, 9A. That could be a term. It could be lots of different numbers and letters multiplied together. And those are all different examples of types of terms. All right, next dot point. A term that does not contain any pronumerals is called a constant term. I think my things are out of space. There we go. All numbers by themselves are constant terms. Bit repetitive there. Okay, so that 5, the one that was just a number, we would call that a constant term because there's no variable in it. There's no letter. Okay, the letters are the variables, so that one is a constant term. Next dot point. An algebraic expression consists of numbers and pronumerals combined with any mathematical operation. So we have a few examples here. 3x plus 2yz. That is an example of an expression. They are two terms. There's two terms in there that are added together. And 8 divided by, probably would have preferred a fraction, but anyway, 8 divided by 3a minus 2b plus 41 is also an expression. They can get more and more complicated as you put more terms, more plus and minus signs in there. They are all different types of expression. It says any term by itself. So all of these ones are highlighted up here. They're terms, but if that was the whole thing, they can also be called an expression, just to confuse the situation. All right, we're nearly done with the notation. One more thing. A something, the word we want there is a coefficient, is the number in front of a pronumeral. So for example, the coefficient of the y in the expression 8x plus 2y plus z. So what you want to do is you want to find the y. Okay? And it wants the number in front of, which I've highlighted, which is the 2. As soon as you see that word coefficient of something, it means the number in front of that letter. So coefficient of y is going to be 2. If there is no number in front of the letter, then it would be a 1. So look at the z here. If I ask for the coefficient of the z, there's no number there. There would be a sneaky little imaginary 1 that we put in front of that z. Because when I say plus z, it means I'm adding 1 on. But it's a shortcut that we do in algebra. We prefer not to write the 1 because it makes it shorter. Okay? All right. So in our next bit of work here, we are going to practice listing off terms and coefficients and using those words that we've just been talking about. So question 1a, it says list the individual terms in the expression 3a plus b plus 13c. Now I've highlighted, as I read that, the plus, and if there were minuses, minus signs as well would do this, the plus and minus signs split up the terms in the expression. So this one has got 3 terms. They are, and I'll write them as a list, 3a is the first one, b is the second term, and 13c is the final term. Part B says, state the coefficient of the pronumeral, of each pronumeral. There are 3 pronumerals there, A, B, and C. So I'm going to write the coefficient of, I'm going to put some dots there because I've got to do 3 different ones here. The first one is A, the coefficient of the A. Coefficient means number in front. So the number in front of the A is the 3. So coefficient of A is 3. The coefficient of the B. What's the number in front of the B? There's nothing actually written there, which means it is a 1. Good. And finally, the coefficient of the C is 13. Very good. Give an example of an expression with exactly 2 terms, one of which is a constant term. This is the kind of question that's a pain in the butt if it's on the test, because there are so many different options that you guys could give. You just need to think of anything that has 2 terms. When it says 1 is a constant term, it means that one of them is just a number with no letters. So you could do something really, really simple. You could go, I'm going to have 1 letter and 1 number, and I'm going to add them together. My 2 terms are separated by the plus, so I have 2 terms, and one of them is just a number. You could be way more creative if you wanted to. You could go, I'm going to make a really, really messy algebra one first. I might go 4x, y, z. That's a really much more complicated term, but then I still have to go a number with it. I'm going to do a minus sign this time just for fun. Pick a number, 9. Okay? So this is my much messier term, but I still have a constant term. You could have anything involving algebra first, plus or minus, and some number for your constant. You could have just about anything you want in there. Okay? All right. Constant means no letters. And Matthew? No, unfortunately not. You just get it right or wrong. So if you did one that was correct, it would be right. Mia? Oh, we'll come back to this. Okay. All right, moving on to question 2. We now have to make our own expression. Now, expressions have letters and numbers, and usually some plus or minus, maybe some times or divide things happening in there as well. So we've got some stuff that's pretty much written in words here, and we want to convert it into letters and numbers. Yeah. The letters are what we call a variable. So at the moment, we're just practicing using them, but we will be putting things in. They will be equal to things later. At the moment, we just need to get used to them being around. Yeah. Okay. It can change from question to question, yes. Yeah, and yeah. Oh, so much. Pretty much every class that I do with my seniors involves algebra. Oh, in everyday life. Yeah, it can be in lots of places as well. Depends. So if you're doing anything that involved higher level maths, so anything involving engineering, if you're solving an equation of some kind, you'll have variables in there. So that would be anything with medicine, anything in science, anything in your business, that kind of maths, that's usually a lot more numerical, but even some of those have equations and variables in them. So pretty much any higher level math and any job that requires the higher level math can involve algebra. So even a surveyor, a builder, all of those people could be using a builder. Often, to be honest, they often have shortcuts where they've just memorized certain things to make the calculations, but it would come back to using an equation or a variable to get there in the end. Yeah. No, unfortunately, we can't put letters. There are buttons on our calculator that do look like they're algebra things, but they will not. These calculators won't do them for you. There are some super expensive ones that can be bought that will, but you're not allowed to use them. So you can't have it. So, yes. So, all right, anyway, back to our work. Matthew, one more question. Those letters that are on there, as I said, they're not for doing this kind of work. Those ones I think are memory recalling things. You can store things in your calculator, but they won't do the things that we need to be able to do. Mia, I said that was the last question. We're still going. You remembered your question from before. Okay, what the thing we're trying to do here is, and I know this is new because although you've done things that were like algebra in primary school, it wasn't like this. This is a very new type of thing that you are doing. And the answers, a lot of the answers that we are going for here will still have letters in them. We aren't able to get these all the way down to one number answers. Okay, so just be aware, most of all the things that we're doing today, when we do the first exercise, you will have letters in all of your answers. Okay, all we're trying to do, like in these next questions, if I start on these, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to read a sentence and then write down that sentence using numbers and symbols and letters. Okay, so if it says more than 5 more than K, let's have a think of our 4 basic operations. We have add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Who could tell me, before I do those questions there, some different words that mean add? More than. So the one that was just there on the board, more than, is a way of saying I need to add something. Bella said plus means to add something, yes? Some means that you want to add something. Anything else? Or to the word add that I keep saying, add. All right, what about words that mean that you want to take away? Yeah. Subtract, I heard minus. Oops, subtract, minus. Yep, Hannah. Less than, great. There's another one that's very important. Yeah, Michaela? Yeah, sorry, that wasn't what I was thinking of, but that's a good one too. Take away. There's still another one that I need. It's difference. If I say the difference between two things, that means you're taking away. All right, what are words that mean multiply? Yeah. No, you don't know, Mia? Times, yes. Matthew first. Yeah. Multiply. It might be helpful, Hannah, you don't have to. Double is timesing by 2. I'll leave that one off though, that's kind of a special one. Seb? Product, yes, that's a very good one. Bella, you have another one? Of, yeah, so something like lots of. If I have 5 lots of, it means I'm timesing by Michaela. You got another one? Yeah, it could be. So you're going to be given different words, and I need you to know what they mean. Can anyone think of words that mean divide? Yeah. Halving would be dividing by a specific number, but yes, it is. Yep. Quotient, that was the special one I was after. Quotient and obviously divide. Can't think of any others. Can you guys think of any others for divide? Oh, share. There's another one. If you were trying to share, if I said share 100 lollies between 10 people, you're dividing by 10, aren't you? It means divide. Mia? No? All right, we might come across some others, but there's a few to keep in mind at least. So let's go back and have a look at our first question. It says 5 more than K. So more than was one of the ones we wrote over here. More than means that you need to add something on. So if I want 5 more than K, it means I need to add my 5 and my K. All right, I'm just trying to get rid of the words and put it in something that's a bit more mathematical. So 5 plus K, that's it. Don't try and do anything else. That's it. I just want you to write that down. Let's do another one. 3 less than M. Now the word less than, what is that as a symbol? Minus. It is a minus. Now with minuses, you have to be really careful. Okay, which one am I subtracting? Am I subtracting a 3 or am I subtracting the M? Ooh, because it's important. Which one? The 3. Because when it says 3 less, it means I'm taking away the 3. So I have to switch them around and put the M first and then take away the 3. Okay. All right, next one. The sum. What does the word sum mean? Plus, good. So I want to plus A and B. So that just means an A plus with a B. A plus, while we're here, it doesn't matter if I switch the order when I'm adding. Okay, A plus B and B plus A, when you're adding, it's the same thing. But the minus ones, it is important. You think of 2 numbers. If I had 5 and 1, if I go 5 take away 1, I get 4. But if I switch it and I go 1 take away 5, what do I get? Negative 4. So subtracting the order is important, but adding, I don't care if you switch them, it means the same thing. Seb? No, I usually just do whatever's in the question though. Question D, double. Now that was one of the sneaky ones that I did say could kind of fit in here with the timesing, but it is timesing by a specific number. If I want to double something, it means that I'm timesing by 2. Okay, now I could write, I'm going to do a couple of things here. I could write 2 times by x. Okay, now notice something that I did with my x. This is a time sign, normal straight-sided x. When we do x's in algebra, you do a backward C and a forward C. The reason for that is I don't want to get my time sign and my x confused. They need to look different, okay, or I'm going to have no idea what's going on here. So you'll see me doing this a lot, and I'd like you to try to do it, please. When you're doing an x, try to do them with the curly side so it doesn't look like a time sign. But I'm not quite finished. You're going to tell me what else? But that is not the best way to write my answer. Because remember I said we prefer not to write multiplication signs. So better than writing 2 times x is just to write 2x, because next to each other means times. And whenever you are doing this kind of thing, please make sure that you always put the number in front of the letter. We don't want x2, we always put the 2 in front of the x. All right? And the next one, E, the product. What does the word product mean? Oh, is it going to tell me? I thought you had your hand up to tell me that. Yes, it means times. Is that not your question? Okay, what else have we got? Because 3 less, it means I want to take 3 away from the m. So when you're subtracting, you have to be very careful. So product does mean times. I want to times together C and D, and this time I'm going to get rid of that times sign straight away and just put the C and the D next to each other. Okay? You always must give, for these types of questions, the most simplified type of answer, or you would lose marks. All right, there's a few more on the next page. Question 3. Write an expression for each of the following, and this one has a reminder that you should not use times or divide symbols. So instead of times we put them next to, instead of divides we're going to make fractions. Okay, so here's A. P is halved and then 4 is added. Things like commas help you to break this into bits. So the first thing I need to do is P is halved. Okay, halved is the same as? No, not yet. We're still in the middle of this. Halved is the same as? Dividing by what? 2. Very good. If you want to halve something, it means you're sharing it or you're dividing it by 2. But we don't use divide symbols. What do? Yes. So P over 2 means I'm halving the P. I'm dividing it by 2, but without a divide sign. So I don't want divide signs. All right, that's this first part. P is halved, and then the next part is then 4 is added. So it tells me added, so I'm just going to go plus 4. That's it. 4 is added. Yeah. All right, part B. First part says the sum, which means plus, the sum of x and y. So here's my x plus y. That is taken, so that just means that's found. So there's my sum of x and y. Then, here's the second part. Divided by 7. Now, I'm not going to use a divide sign. I'm going to use a fraction. All of that is going to make one big fraction, and all of that is divided by 7. Okay, so these ones have got 2 parts in them. Next part, C. The sum of x and 1/7 of y. Michaela. No, you don't do times. Times the next, but you do pluses. Maths, you're going to have to find a new seat if you keep that up. Okay, so pluses we still need to write. It's only times that we put next to each other. So this one I want to sum the x. So x has to be added with something. But the thing that it is added to is 1/7 of y. How could I write 1/7 of y? Yeah, you want to turn? Yeah, how? Oh, so close. Seb? Se- oh, that would be the best way to write it, yes. If you do it exactly how it is said, you would do 1/7 of y. But that looks really weird. So I prefer not to do that. So instead, if you want 1/7 of something, it means you're dividing it by 7. So you just want to do y over 7, and that's much nicer and much more simplified. Okay, D. 5 is subtracted from. Now, if the 5 is subtracted, I'm going to have a -5 somewhere. It's the one that's getting taken away. What's it getting taken away from? Let's read the rest. It is subtracted from K and the result is tripled. All right, first of all, the 5 is subtracted from the K. There you go, there's the 5 subtracted from the K. And that result is tripled. What does tripled mean? Okay, now can I put a, what does that work? No. I have to times all of it, not just the 5. I have to times all of it by 3. How do I make it do all of it? No, that's only the 5. I need all of it. No, all of it. Mia. I'm kind of doing it with my hands here. Yes, go. Brackets. If you need all of something, I'm grouping it together, putting it in brackets. All of that has to be times by 3. Now, if I'm putting a 3 next to it, do I put a 3 there? No. Remember what I said with the 2x? We don't want x2. We always want the number in front. So 3, like that, you'd move it out the front. And that would be how you'd write that answer. All right, so that's our first bit for today. And you'll see down here, these are the pages that you're going to do.